Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Wrestle Heat. Just got done watching the Super Showdown WWE Network special from Saudi Arabia. Man, that was quite a long 3 hours because I missed the first hour of the show and I did not see the pre-show. I got in just in time for the Triple H and Randy Orton match. So I'll go through the other matches that I missed real quickly, just to just kind of recap, and so I can go over the results. I did see the clips of Rollins and Undertaker, Demon Finn, and all that good stuff. But the kickoff show actually started off with the Usos versus the Revival. So the Raw Tag Team Champions, Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder, were not on the show. They were on the show, but they were not on the show in their own match. Instead, we had the Usos versus the Revival. Yeah, I can't complain about the match itself. It's a little confusing, though, that we didn't actually have the tag team champions on the show. I was hoping that we would have had them on the show in some way, shape, or form, aside from just being extras in a battle royal. That maybe a triple threat match here would have been ideal, just because we could have seen the titles on the line, but instead we just have this random match that was set up, I guess, because the Usos caught the Revival shaving each other's backs. I don't know, but I heard the match was great. Maybe if somebody watching this now can let me know if the match indeed was great, because I heard it was really, really good. I didn't get a chance to see it. I'll probably go back and catch it later on today. I'm not sure. We'll see. But yeah, the Usos got the win. The Revival were not winning much of anything ever since they demanded their release from WWE and tried to get out and go to AEW. I'm curious when their contract goes up. I do want is up. I do want to know that, because there'll be major factors in AEW. They deserve a ton better than this. What they're given. I mean, yeah, being on the pre-show is better than nothing, and everybody needs to be on the pre-show. And you want to have a good match that's going to generate viewers. So I think it's an underrated spot that people don't talk about enough. Like whenever someone sees they're on the pre-show, fans are like, this guy shouldn't be on the pre-show. WWE is burying them. Vince is burying them. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case at all. The pre-show is a good spot. It's just like a prelim fight in the UFC or in boxing. More so the UFC, because their prelims are actually on ESPN. I don't think anybody watches boxing prelims. I don't even know if hardcore boxing fans watch the boxing prelims. So that is a good spot to be in, nevertheless. The match debuted, though, or the opening match, rather, not the debut match. The opening match of the show was Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin for the Universal Championship. Yep, the Universal Championship has become the opening match now. Ever since WrestleMania, I guess big shows now are just going to open up with the Universal title match. I don't know. People are saying AJ Styles was the mid-card champion a year or two ago. Remember that? Maybe Seth Rollins now is, he's the curtain jerker champion. I don't understand it. I think it devalues the title a ton. The title meant so much more. Now, I mean, it wasn't the most prestigious, most important title in WWE history, the Universal title being in its short history, but it still meant a little something because Brock held it for so long, and Brock holding a title is always going to be a big deal. Aside from that, Finn Balor won it, Roman won it, just a lot of top guys have won it, and Goldberg had it at one time. Goldberg had it, defended it at WrestleMania in a main event match, but now it's the curtain jerker of a pay-per-view. So I mean, it's good to start the show off hot, but why couldn't you start the show with Finn and Andrade? That's just me. As a fan, I like to see the title mean more than it can. The title should be the most important thing on the show, not Undertaker and Goldberg. But that's how pro wrestling and the WWE has always been. It's always been an attraction-based, star versus star-based company. They're not one for putting the championship first like the UFC is, or even boxing. Boxing, in most cases, will not put in an attraction fight unless it's a big fight like Mayweather-McGregor or Mayweather-Pacquiao, something like that. Seth Rollins got the win. That no surprise there. It was just a good heel versus babyface match. The crowd was not too into it. I don't think the crowd really knows who Baron Corbin is, and they're probably not super familiar with Rollins. That's kind of the gist that I got. The crowd just didn't know a lot of the people that were on the show, and that's okay. It is to be expected. I'm not at all surprised that the crowd didn't know who Baron Corbin is. Then we had Brock try to cash in. Rollins fended him off. Brock did keep his briefcase though, so I think it's good that Brock is keeping the briefcase. He works better with it. It's something that he doesn't really need, but it does give him something to do instead of just being the world champion and not being there. So the idea that Brock could return at any time and cash in is an intriguing idea for me, and it's one that I'm genuinely invested in. This is the first time in a long time that I've genuinely been invested in Brock's character in any way, shape, or form. So I think it's a good move keeping the briefcase on him. He may cash in around SummerSlam time. That'd probably be my guess. I don't know why he wanted to be on the opener of the show again. I guess he's got the same mentality where if he can't go on last, he's going to go on first. I don't know if that's real or not, but hey, that's what we're working with right now. Yeah, this was something, man. An opening match. I'm just gotta say it again. An opening match with the Universal title. I hate to harp on this, but I don't understand. I don't understand why putting the Universal title in the opening spot. It has me lost. I don't know. Whatever. Can't harp on it though. It was okay. Rollins and Baron Corbin. Not gonna expect a barn burner of a match from them. Let's see. Then we had the Intercontinental title, Finn Balor versus Andrade. He was the Demon, though. Let me see. Let me read up on something here. Yeah, he was the Demon, and this was, he's been on SmackDown, and we haven't really seen him on SmackDown a whole lot since he won the title. It's just he's just been there. He could get so much more. It blows my mind that Finn is not in bigger spots. I don't get it. Andrade is a rising star, but I think it was a good move here to put him in there with Finn. Just two guys that can have a really good match, and this was one of the few quality matches on the show. The Demon is a big star, a very marketable star. Still lost on why he's not around more. The Demon could be a big merch seller, but they're missing out a big opportunity with merch, I think, by keeping the Demon Finn off of TV for so long. We only get him once in a while. I can't even remember the last time that we saw the Demon. I think it was at WrestleMania, but I'm not really sure. Yeah, Finn kept his title. He hasn't done a whole lot. Then the next match, Shane defeats Roman Reigns. Shane McMahon beat Roman Reigns. Yep, you heard that right. Yep, I'm just going to let that one sit. Drew McIntyre interfered and allowed Shane to get the win, and then Drew hoisted him up on his shoulders, carried him to the back, and yep. I guess that means the feud is going to continue. I don't understand that one at all. I don't know what's going on with Shane McMahon. I guess he's staying a heel. It's just a moment that does nothing for neither person involved. Then we had Lars Sullivan defeat the Lucha House Party. I think it's kind of sickening that Lars Sullivan is on TV. To be honest, I don't like seeing him, especially after all the the controversy that he's been surrounded with. It's not a good look. It's really not a good look for him. It's not a good look for the company to push this guy so heavily. He's not been super pushed and super protected compared to other stars that have come from NXT, like Charlotte or Alexa Bliss or Finn Balor, KO. At first, now those guys don't really mean anything. But yeah, Lars Sullivan and the Lucha House Party, like I don't even know what this was doing on a main show. This is one that people are gonna look back at in a few years and like, what? Who are these guys? I mean, Kalisto's been on TV for quite some time, but Grand Metalik and Lince Dorado, I don't even know who they are, to be honest. I don't have a clue who they are. Yeah, I just hate seeing Lars Sullivan on the screen. He's one of those guys that I just wish he has go away heat in every way of the word. He's got changed to channel heat, stuff like that. But yeah, this match was one. This next match was the first one that I really got to sit down and watch all the way through. Randy Orton versus Triple H. They really did a good job. The WWE is in producing a video package for this match. I was super intrigued, but just by watching the video package, because it was like a flashback. It was like a placement in a moment back in time. It was super cool. Super cool to see the throwback and just the old Evolution feud, and some of the good moments they had 10 years ago with Triple H busting into Randy Orton's house, that famous skit from Raw. It was a good blast from the past. That's the word I was looking for. It was a great blast from the past. I could not complain with the way the match went. It was very slow at first, very slow. But the crowd was super into it. They were chanting, "This is awesome," from the moment they had the stare down. And I think the crowd was into this match because they knew who both guys are. I think that's going to be a theme throughout this show. If the crowd knows who both the guys are in the match, then they're going to be into it. But sometimes they just didn't know who the guys were. And Randy Orton and Triple H are two of the biggest stars in the history of wrestling. They're two guys that are going to go viral anytime they say something on the internet or they do something cool in the ring. But as much as I didn't really want to see this match going in, I watched it with very low expectations, and I thought it was pretty decent. Like if I were to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give it a 5. Going in, I thought it'd be like a 2 or a 3, just because Triple H can't really go anymore. He looks every bit of his age when he's out there. He doesn't look to be for this match in particular, he didn't look to be in great shape, but he was in great shape for his WrestleMania match with Batista. But this time he did not look to be in too great a shape. Randy Orton still in great shape. Randy Orton arguably in his prime, still in his prime. I mean, he's literally the past, present, and future. Still, he's a guy that's still got a lot of years left. He's got a lot of years left in the tank. And he still looks great. He was able to carry Triple H here. They had some good false finishes. The ending maybe a little bit predictable. I don't know. This was kind of a pick 'em to me. I didn't really think the outcome didn't really matter to me. Randy Orton got the win with an RKO. It was very cool. Very cool way to end the match with the RKO. They Triple H hit a pedigree. Randy Orton hit an RKO prior. Both guys kicked out of their finishes. It wasn't bad. Wasn't good. It was solid. But what was bad was Braun Strowman versus Bobby Lashley. We did see the tail of the tape for this one. I don't know why, because the tail of the tape didn't really do a whole lot to make you seem convinced that this is a monstrous matchup. Because Braun Strowman is like 8 inches taller. He's got the only thing that they were close to equal on was bicep size. I believe Lashley's was 21 inches and Strowman was 22-inch biceps. Other than that, Strowman's chest is more massive. He weighs more. He's taller. So I was a little confused by the showing of the tail of the tape. But yeah, this match was like a bathroom break for me. I could not sit through it. It was slow, boring. The crowd did not care. There was some light "get these hands" chants throughout the match. But yeah, Braun got the win in a non-shocking fashion. I just remember at one point being so excited for Braun Strowman, thinking that he was going to be a big star, that he was going to be the top guy for a little while. I thought he would at least get a little run with the Universal title or the WWE title, but that's definitely not in the cards. And Bobby Lashley getting that dream match with Brock Lesnar and maybe getting a title run seems to not be in the cards either for him. So this was one. This was one that I was watching a little. I was a little confused just watching it. Can't really say much about it. It was what it was. It was a match. It was a match on the show. Then for the WWE Championship, we had Kofi Kingston defend his title against Dolph Ziggler. Afterwards, Dolph Ziggler cut a promo and said that he challenged Kofi to a title match in a steel cage because he was a little frustrated by the interference from Xavier Woods and the referee missing it and blah, blah, blah. So he called for a steel cage match. So I assume we'll get that at Stomping Grounds or Tuesday night on SmackDown. I don't think Ziggler is going to be around all that long. I don't know if he's going to be in AEW, but he's not going to be on WWE on WWE's TV for quite some time after this feud wraps up with Kofi. I think there's just not much left for him to do. There's no reason for him to be here. He's got other things to do. He wants to focus on his stand-up comedy. So he should be focusing on that. He really has no need to wrestle. He has nothing to prove. We know what Ziggler can do. He's a proven guy. If he wants to go somewhere else like an AEW or a New Japan Pro Wrestling where he can showcase his skills and he can be on top and be given a title run, then yeah. Or let him go over there, have a main event run at a company like that could really utilize his talents. As far as the match, though, I thought this was the best match on the show by a mile. Like this match was just not off the chain, but it was high flying and really good up until the interference. The finish was stupid with Xavier hitting the kick off the apron and then Ziggler turning into the Trouble in Paradise. Stupid, predictable WCW finish, but it was fine. Other than that, I thought it was the best match of the night. And then we had the 50-man Battle Royal, marketed as the most important and most legendary Battle Royal in WWE history, and some gentleman from Saudi Arabia named Mansoor, I think is how you say his name, Mansoor. I'm not sure. He won the 50-man Battle Royal, eliminating Elias. It was clearly this was clearly a moment for the house. This was to give the house something to pop for. He's the hometown boy. He cut a promo afterwards talking about how this was Saudi Arabia's moment. He's sharing it with his people, with his country, and he said he spoke in the language. That's really what this was. It's just kind of silly that it was being built as the most important and most legendary battle royal in history. That just seems silly to me. Still, just saying it right now is silly. I was not particularly intrigued in this. It was a cluster that you couldn't even tell who the hell was in the ring half the time. Matt Hardy was out there looking like 1999 Matt Hardy with the neon blue shirt, and he still got the blonde hair. Just sad to see some of these guys have fallen so hard. Robert Roode in there. Yeah. There's got to be a spot. There's not a top spot for everybody. I get it, but aside from that, the show stealer from this match, I think, was Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe had the biggest featured moments. He had some cool eliminations. I thought he was the star of this match. He was really given ample time to do some things that he could do by just eliminating people. Ricochet looked good too. Ricochet and Ali, I believe it was that eliminated Samoa Joe. That was a cool little moment. And then Cesaro eliminated both of those guys with one hand. That was pretty cool, leading up to the finish of the match. This clearly did not mean anything. Unlike, I believe the Greatest Royal Rumble actually got like a trophy or something if you won it when Braun won it. I think he did. But this one did not mean anything. But shout out to Mansoor. He got his moment, I guess. With all the talent in the ring, and he wins the Battle Royal. It's hard to take serious. Like I said earlier, clearly a moment for the crowd to enjoy, a feel-good moment. Not much I can say. But it was, after that Battle Royal, it was finally time for the main event. The main event that we've all been waiting for, right? It's 1999 again. Goldberg and The Undertaker. We had a flashback on SmackDown. Those two guys cut promos on each other in what was a decently cool segment because we never got to see those guys lock horns in their prime. Goldberg was busy on Raw. Undertaker was busy on SmackDown when they were back in 2003 when Goldberg first came in during the brand split. But, we did see them interact on SmackDown. I can't say I enjoyed that, but it was cool. The nostalgia aspect of it, and the fact that it was a fresh match made it pretty cool, because the Undertaker is a legend. Goldberg is a legend. It's great to see Goldberg being treated with the respect that he deserves. He's being utilized as not just a regular guy. He's being utilized as the legendary figure in professional wrestling that he is. But we had the cool entrances here in Saudi. Goldberg did his famous entrance with the fireworks, and the security getting him in his room. And then we had the Undertaker come out with his famous entrance. I don't need to talk about that. You already know their entrances. But as soon as we got both guys in the ring, that freaking bell had to ring. And once that bell rang, whew, man, this was a complete disaster of a match. It started off okay. Undertaker did the old school. Goldberg, right when the bell rang, Goldberg hit 2 spears in a row. Undertaker kicked out. So, it was kind of like the match that he had with Brock at WrestleMania, where it was heavy hitting and fast paced. But then there was a botch, and Goldberg started bleeding, and that's literally where the match just fell apart. Right when Goldberg started bleeding,